Pam should be with us soon. She'll be taking care of the Zoom today.
Such as it is.
Well, that's fine.
I will be watching for chats. So
okay.
I will be typing in addresses and any information that people can want in chat, but I'll be sitting here in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, John! John and Rose are supposed to be on the road, but I guess they're still in town.
Or on the road and could connect. John, where are you?
Yeah.
Or maybe John and Rose, once again. I don't
know.
We had
a farewell party for Jane. We had a farewell party for them 2 weeks ago. John and Rose met at Living Water, and they're going to be traveling down to Florida and living in Rose's RV for a few months, and then they're going to travel back west, and then they're going to find a place in Oregon, and the plan was to have a condo in Florida and a condo in Oregon and do lots of traveling. So they've been delayed by one property left to sell.
I see you, Rose. Where are you?
Hi, good morning.
Where are you?
In a motel, another day.
Okay.
We're at the police station on the end of the lineup.
Thanks for joining us. I see Jeff and Sue are here now too. Should we begin? It's that time.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, I'm just moving a little stuff here. There. So we light our candle in recognition of and appreciation for the Christ light within each of us and the presence of the divine in our gathering. And now, if you can, I'd like you to recite the affirmation of living water unity with me. Living water unity is a thriving spiritual community inspired to embrace and share our abundant good now. We are empowered for joyful living by expressing God in each moment. Thank you. And at this time, it's a good time to mention we're having difficulty with being able to mute everyone. So if you will please mute yourself when you aren't speaking, it would be appreciated to make sure we minimize background noise. So our announcements for today. Today is the day of our farewell picnic for David Ridge. It will be at Ralston Central Park, which is on the north side of Ralston at Garrison. It starts at 1 p.m. And I believe Pam will be putting the address in the chat at some point soon. If you don't have it, you can get it there. The celebration of life for Betty Charles is Saturday, October 16th. That's at Three Sons Italian Restaurant. And it's an open house event from 11:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. An RSVP to Betty's daughter, Geraldine. I just heard from Jerry that she really does need the RSVP soon because it is at a really wonderful Italian restaurant and she needs to have a head count for the food very soon. So perhaps Pam can put this in the chat too. You can text her at 720-988-5711 or call 303-279-5454. You see, keep straight which one is, her cell does not necessarily accept everyone's calls. So if you want to call, use the second number because that's her landline. Let's see. And that will be October 16th. Now, I know Trinity has some information about next week's gathering for our announcements. Trinity?
Sorry about that. Yes, so next week we don't have a speaker, and it's kind of fortuitous because we need to get the community's input as to the direction that the church is going. We have a board working hard to steer the ship, but right now the ship is just kind of drift, and will remain adrift until we have a kind of cohesive direction as to what we want to do to move forward. So we really, really, really need everyone's input. We will be meeting in person at Activity Options, and it'll be a in-circle discussion. We will be Zooming it, and we will include all of those on Zoom in the discussion, but we really, really need your participation, and we hope to see you there. Sue, I see, is on here. If Sue wants to add something, feel free to jump in. Otherwise, that's all I have for you.
Oh, you're muted, Sue.
Sorry. Yeah, once again, we just really need everybody to really think hard about what they envision, what they can contribute, how we can put behind us the past ministry that we've had and envision something new and move forward with it. We are going to temporarily suspend our search for a minister because we think we may need a facilitator or a consultant to help us. And so we need your thoughts on that too. So please attend or attend the Zoom call.
Thank you, Sue. So now we will have our call to worship with Doug Roche. Love is flowing like a river. So please take a moment to close your eyes, a moment to breathe. It is Sunday again. We come together again. This is our Sabbath. Even though we are meeting in a virtual universe, we share this time today. We come together for community. We come together for inspiration. We come together for laughter. We come together for tears. This is a sacred place if we make it so. World events swirl around us, but we come here for peace. We come here to center ourselves in spirit, to find that quiet place within. We come here to hold each other in the light. We come here to love each other and the world. May love triumph. And so it is. And now our daily word will be read to us by Clarence Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. Today is Sunday, September 26th, 2021. And today's words are let go, let God. Divine wisdom, divine love, wisdom, and understanding expressed through me. If I feel unsure of the next step in any situation, I let go and let God. I don't walk away from difficulty or try to force resolutions. Instead, I release my tight mental grip on problems and open myself to solutions. I let go of my ego's desire for control and my need to bring about specific outcomes. I believe there are solutions and remedies beyond what my mind can conceive. I yield to possibility. I trust the indwelling divine presence, just as I would trust a mentor. Letting go and letting God means creating space for the dynamic, creative energy of spirit to inspire and surprise me. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding fuel my thoughts, express through my words, and guide me in all ways. And today's scripture is from Psalm 86, verse 11. Teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name.
Thank you, Clarence. And now we invite your individual prayers. We will listen to each prayer, pause for a moment, and end with, and so it is, before the next prayer. So, who has a prayer they would like to offer? Remember to unmute for that.
I'd like to offer one. Prayer for my friend Dave, who had cancer surgery some months ago and found out recently that the cancer has returned and he will have to have surgery again. Prayers for good health and prayers for healing and prayers for his mental state going back into this situation.
And so it is.
I ask for prayers for my friend Darius, who has suffered a mental issue, has been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and for her wife Linda, who's helping her.
And so it is.
I'd like to ask for prayers for the healing of this country and this world.
And so it is.
I'd like to ask for prayers today in that John and I finally will get on the road and have a safe trip, and the duplex will take the course that it is supposed to, and that all of that comes in due time yesterday. Thanks.
And so it is. Are there other prayers?
Well, I would love to do another prayer with Savannah. She has decided to follow my footsteps and go to Pima Medical School to be a physical therapist. And she tours it on Wednesday. And I just hope it opens her heart to a whole new path, and that God blesses that for her.
And so it is. Any others? So we will close this with Unity's affirming prayer. We rest in the awareness that God's love has no end and is a power that knows no bounds. God's healing power of divine life is restoring, healing, and revitalizing our world and our lives in this very moment. We let go of any fears or anxieties, affirming that divine order is now, has always been, and will always be at work in our lives. We bless our global family with the vision of fulfilling and empowering relationships. Filled with an abundance of love, we express our own divinity in all we think, say, and do. Now I'd like to introduce Doug Roche, who has a special tune prepared for us. And as we've said before, if you'd like to have a better view, go to speaker view so you'll be able to see and hear. You'll be able to hear him, but you'll be able to see him better if you do that.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to play today a couple of love songs, not both at once, but this one is from a movie of the same name, Cinema Paradiso, by the composer Ennio Morricone. It's simply entitled Cinema Paradiso.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that so much. Now it is time to introduce our speaker for today, Reverend Dr. Jane Simmons. She's a speaker, author, minister, and educator who holds a doctoral degree from Holos University. She has ministered in 4 Unity churches and has served Unity Worldwide Ministries in multiple ways. She's committed to helping bring forth a kinder, more compassionate world, and is Unity's 2020 recipient of the Light of God Expressing Award. She's also authored and co-authored several best-selling books and has created curricula for adults and teens to teach peacemaking skills in the New Thought movement. She also holds a first-degree black belt in the combined martial arts of karate, jiu-jitsu, and taekwondo. And she recently retired from Unity Spiritual Center in Spokane, Washington. She currently lives in a tiny house in Kettle Falls, Washington, with her husband, Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons, and their dog, Jedi. She has a very rich background, and if you'd like more information, her website is theartofquantumliving.com. And now, please, Dr. Simmons, thank you.
Thank you for that. I feel very blessed to be with you all today. One of the things that isn't in my bio is that I was a classmate of Reverend David's. And so I know that you have been richly blessed by him these last couple of decades. And I feel very grateful and honored to be invited to be with you during this time of transition for you all. And for those of you who are going to his party today, please give him my love and ask him to tell you about Leonard Left Brain and Rita Right Brain. That's all I'm going to say. But it's something we cooked up for during ministerial school. So, but I really feel blessed to be with you today. So thank you for inviting me. So I recently came across a posting in social media by someone who said, "We need kind humans right now." And I was very moved by the urgency in his words. He was questioning whether it was even still possible for us to be kind to one another. He asked, have we become so immersed in too much cynicism or sarcasm to recover from it? Has the political and social polarized thinking gone too far? And his writing really caught my attention, and I started to wonder what it might take to heal any us and them thinking that seems to have enmeshed itself into our culture. My talk title is Survival of the Kindest, so that gives you a hint as to the level of importance that I'm pinning on the need to relearn how to be kind to one another. That title is also the name of a book I'm currently writing, talking about cultural paradigm shifts that have happened in our history and exploring how they happen and what we may need to do in order to bring forth a shift to a new paradigm, which to me means a kinder, more compassionate world. I love that we had a prayer this morning for the world, the country and the world. Because what will it take for us to create that? It turns out that love has a whole lot to do with it, to answer Tina Turner's question. Because transformation doesn't happen just by taking some sort of outer action to try and fix things in the world. Love has to be behind it. And before we take any action, we have to first take care of our internal state. We have to work through any unfinished business we might have from our past that can be blocking that love from flowing forth. And if we don't do this first, then all of our actions will just really get us nowhere fast. And compassion, kindness, divine love, these are all foundational to transformative change. And the internal healing that is done through the power of the heart. I read recently that many of us seem to be turning our spirituality into a rat race. And when I read that, it made me pause and question whether that's exactly what I've been doing during this challenging time between political toxicity and social unrest, pandemics, violence, racism. So many of us have been working overtime in a seemingly endless mental and emotional struggle with whatever is showing up on the nightly news. And so I've had to ask myself some pretty serious questions. Am I trying to force change by battling what is arising using tactics that are more in line with the cultural paradigm that I am trying to evolve out of? Has a steady diet of us and them polarized thinking derailed my desire to live a compassionate life that honors the oneness of all? Have I been trying to win a spiritual rat race and vanquish what I consider to be the other side? These are very important questions to ask because they bring me to the most poignant one of all. Is it even possible to bring forth a new paradigm of interconnected living using methods that no longer work in the old paradigm based on the story of separation? Spoiler alert, no. That's the definition of insanity, isn't it? Doing the same thing over and over and over, trying to find a different result. And this idea that I might be caught in a spiritual rat race has really catapulted me into a whole new exploration of cultural change and how I might do it differently than I have been and no longer contribute to the culture's dysfunction. As the Franciscan priest Richard Rohr writes, you cannot believe in or practice unitive consciousness, which is oneness, as long as you exclude and marginalize others. I mean, it just makes sense. If I am making someone else the problem and I'm keeping them outside of my circle of compassion, then I exile myself. I exclude myself from experiencing the peace of the oneness of God because I am immersed in separation. So we can't force a cultural paradigm shift. We have to be the paradigm shift in action. And when enough of us are in alignment with the vibrational dynamics of a new way of being, when we are expressing what we want to see in the world, then it can emerge. So I'm officially inviting any of us who may feel caught in a spiritual rat race like I have been to step out of the battle and into the flow of divine love. Can you feel the difference in that? Step off of the battlefield that comes from reactivity to a story of separation and into the divine flow of oneness that emanates from the reality of interbeing. Unity's foundation principle tells us there is only one presence, one power, one life. And so I believe part of our work as New Thought practitioners is to start living that truth in a deeper way. But in order to do that, we first have to see what might be blocking the flow. And so it begins by looking within, becoming aware, waking up to what is going on inside of me and how I may be projecting whatever that is out onto an unsuspecting world. As New Thought teacher Emma Curtis Hopkins writes, the world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. Whatever we're putting out there is contributing to the collective memory field of humanity. Make no mistake about it. And in these very unsettled times, our whole planet now needs more than ever a new way of living, one that is based on the power of the heart. And above all, it needs those of us who are holding that vision of a better world to help bring it forth. I mean, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And this entails some work you may have noticed. And in a sense, that work is to hospice what is dying out, what isn't working, what we're ready to release and let go of, while at the very same time welcoming, nurturing, creating the environment for and essentially midwifing what is ready to come forth and be birthed. And the problem is we don't have a clear idea of what that is as of yet. But this I do know, the coming together of our human family, no matter what we agree or disagree on, is imperative. And I believe our very survival rests on it. I read about a farmer who grew excellent corn, and every year he won an award for it. And a reporter interviewed him and asked him what his secret was to growing such a quality crop year after year. And the farmer told him that he shared his seed corn with his neighbors. And the reporter asked, well, how can you afford to do that when your neighbors are in competition with you? And the farmer answered, the wind picks up the pollen from the ripening corn and it swirls it from field to field. If my neighbors grow inferior corn, cross-pollination will steadily degrade the quality of mine. If I want to grow good corn, I have to help my neighbors grow good corn. And I love this story because it illustrates that as a culture, we are in this together. Our well-being is intertwined. And as we've already seen, if we're keeping others out of our circle of kindness and compassion, we also keep the door barred from our own entry. But it goes beyond that. Not only are we all in this together, we have to find our way out together as well. And our current cultural climate is ripe for us to do so. So how can we utilize the current situation as a cataclysmic evolutionary catalyst? That has become my new favorite phrase. In other words, how can we use what is currently happening as a driver for evolutionary transformation and to energetically evolve into a greater expression of who we have come here to be? Well, we cannot shift into a new way of thinking if we are seeing life through an old way of thinking, specifically through the lens of an unhealed past. Our development will be hindered largely by unconscious patterns of behavior. But to be clear, it's not about fixing ourselves. It's more a releasing of whatever is in the way of expressing our true wholeness. It's a letting go of what may be obscuring the Christ light within us from shining brightly. It's an integrating of any orphan parts of ourselves that we have deemed unacceptable in the past. And without doing that clearing work first, we just keep on dragging the past into the future with us like unwanted baggage. So although it isn't the totality of the work, it is definitely a foundational piece of it. And if we don't, then our unfinished business will continue to quietly and not so quietly sabotage our individual and our collective evolution into a more spiritually mature, awakened culture. Centuries ago, the Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca gave some wise words of counsel. He said, "Don't stumble over something behind you." And this is exactly what we do. When we don't address this, we stumble over our own past. Now, one of the issues we face in this work is that it turns out that some of that unfinished business can actually be beyond our personal history and more ancestral in nature. If I were to ask you what you inherited from your family, you might say my dad's eye color, my mother's voice. We can often see family resemblances. Physical features like skin and hair color, body shape can all be passed down from parent to child. But beyond that, psychological strengths and weaknesses, emotional tendencies, mental acuity, hormonal makeup can all be inherited from our ancestors and stored in our personal and collective memory fields. Epigenetic research shows that dysfunction from trauma can be unconsciously passed down to our descendants. Dr. Rachel Yehuda, professor of psychiatry and neuroscience, has done extensive work in this area of transgenerational trauma, and she has found that descendants of Holocaust survivors were 3 times as likely to meet the criteria for PTSD than those in their community whose ancestors had not been through the Holocaust. The same hormonal abnormalities were passed on even if the Holocaust survivors never spoke about their experience. This passing on happens unknowingly. It's not something we set out to do or choose to do. Well, this bit of research has sent me on a journey of discovery, looking at my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents' lives with an eye for the stories behind the facts. What were their early lives like? What hidden traumas might they have passed on to me? And then looking at my own early years and seeing what memories from my past have been stored as frozen trauma in my body. You know, we all have this to a degree. It's part of the human condition that no matter how wonderful our families may have been, somewhere along the line in our early years, we pick up things that are still in need of healing. And this is why healing those things is so important. The author's Wei Kwok tells us that social disorder is an alert to heal collective trauma. Social disorder is an indicator of collective trauma. And when I look around our world, I see much evidence of social disorder. And you know, it affects all of us. Our nervous systems become highly reactive. Our bodies become unsettled through the effects of witnessing and taking on trauma. The author of My Grandmother's Hands, Dr. Resma Menachem, is a somatic trauma therapist who says this: gather together a group of unsettled bodies and you get a mob or a riot. But, he adds, bring a large group of settled bodies together And you have a potential movement, a potential force for tremendous good in the world. And this is the key for us as to how we can help to bring forth a better world. This explains why, when a percentage of the population engages in meditation, that the crime rate can drop, violence can be reduced. It explains why getting ourselves into a coherent, heart-centered state affects those around us in a positive way. And it helps me to understand when I do my integration work and settle my body, I can now become a presence of peace for another. I think the Dalai Lama said it best. My religion is kindness. And when we learn to live and breathe kindness, when our work becomes being divine love in action, then not only our own lives transform, but it spreads like a positive contagion, and the world can change. And that brings me back to the realization of the true power within us. We are one with Source. Within us is a mighty power that can overcome all seeming obstacles. Source, not force. And we're all being called to do this work and to be the change. More wisdom from Richard Rohr. This collective call, he says, can only be truly answered by those who have done their own work of self-mastery. Otherwise, there is insufficient strength, not enough connection to the essential center to do the heavy lifting of transforming society. And he goes on to say that any unfinished business within us will inhibit our availability to transformation. So I've had to ask myself, how available am I for transformation right now? It's a great question to ask yourself. I heard the story of a Tibetan monk who had been tortured in a Chinese prison for years. And once he was finally released, he was asked by the Dalai Lama whether he had ever been afraid. And he answered yes. There was one thing I was afraid of. I was afraid I might lose compassion for the Chinese. Wow. Now there is someone who's available for transformation. And if I'm being honest, I must confess I am not there yet. But the good news is we don't do this work alone. In fact, we can't do it alone. We need the powerhouse of our divine essence. Ralph Waldo Emerson describes how this works as he says, we are inlets of the divine, natural inlets of the divine source. And our job, he says, is to learn to be outlets. And so the work becomes focused on reaching inside, doing the powerful integration work by finding and releasing all the unconscious hidden blocks to being an outlet, and then reaching out and become active conduits of divine love to help bring forth a kinder and more compassionate world. And the integration work is paramount. We need to unlearn any negative conditioning that may be hiding the very qualities that we want to express. I mean, truly, we can't leave behind a kinder world if we're not feeling that kindness inside. We can't give the world a compassionate, safe life for all if that compassion and safety is not within our own hearts. And the reason for that is the world is mirroring what is within our psyche. If I want to see healing in our polarized world, I need to heal the polarity in my own heart. Now, to be clear, I am not suggesting in any way that we not take action of some kind to address harmful or abusive behavior. Compassion doesn't mean doormat. But what I am saying is that action needs to be taken without the contamination of vengeance or condemnation. I'm also not saying that we should try and suppress or avoid any feelings of anger or fear that have been generated from past events. No, we need to feel and honor those emotions and work through them in a positive way, not get stuck there. And we might need some extra help in the form of therapeutic support if we have a great deal of unresolved trauma or deep wounding from our early years. But the goal is to learn how to feel those emotions and not get stuck in them. That's the key, not to get stuck there. I mean, it does the world no good to have our thoughts sink into a vibration of despair and guilt and fear, condemnation, pessimism, blaming, and then stay stuck there. That just compounds the problem. As James Twyman reminds us, thoughts are the ultimate buzzkill. Now, he's referring to chronic negative thinking. I don't know about you, but that is so true for me. Nikola Tesla gives us some really valuable insight on this dynamic when he writes, if you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. So the work begins within, shifting our thoughts from the ultimate buzzkill of negativity that naturally occurs due to the story of separation, and then rising to the frequency, the vibrational resonance of oneness through unconditional divine love, with the ultimate goal from that energetic signature of creating a world that works for all beings. And as Marianne Williamson assures us, any thought of love uplifts us all. Nothing inspires me more than wanting to leave a more compassionate world for the next generation that is safe and loving and environmentally sustainable, where everyone has an equal opportunity to thrive. That describes the kind of paradigm shift that I truly believe is imminent, ready to emerge, but we have to help it to do so by midwifing it into manifestation as we rise to and sustain that vibrational frequency. That is really what it means by being the change. And when I start to live that truth, by clearing anything that is blocking the flow of divine love, becoming an inlet and an outlet of spirit, a conscious conduit of compassion, kindness, an instrument of peace, a clear avenue for spirit to express however we want to describe it, doing that work with humility, compassion, and kindness benefits not only me, but the entire human collective. New Thought leader Ernest Holmes says this: in our ignorance, we misuse our divinity. But, he adds, without changing or destroying it. You see, this is the good news. No matter what is blocking the flow or how long it's been doing so, our divine essence is as powerful and precious and magical and mighty as it ever has been right now. So, I invite all of us to reach in, do the integration work, discover those stuck places, the frozen trauma, the unforgiveness, the resentment, condemnation, both towards ourselves and others. Remove whatever barriers we may have mentally or emotionally erected that are in the way of being a clear conduit of the divine. And then, using source, not force, awaken our divine potential, go beyond our yesterday self, become an outlet of kindness, an avenue through which love and compassion can flow, and truly, truly become the change we are seeking in this world. The world is counting on us. The time is now, and we are the ones. And so it is.
Thank you so much. Fresh insights and perspectives. There's a lot to absorb in what you've said to us today. And I am grateful for your presence here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So why don't we take a moment now to sink into that kindness and compassion? Is that okay for me to go into that now? Is there some music that needs to precede or anything like that?
No, you may continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, everyone. So it's such a joy to be with you. And as we join together in this manner, we begin to create this energetic field of compassion and caring. Wherever we find ourselves geographically, we arrive together energetically as we begin to focus our energies within our bodies. I'm going to invite you to sink your attention way deep, deep within your body. Feel your feet, soles of your feet. Are they planted on the floor? What does that feel like? Feel yourself grounded in the moment. Now move your attention upwards through your body, through the legs, through the trunk of your body. Feel your shoulders, your arms and hands, fingers. Move up through your neck, to your head, to your face. Really inhabit this moment. We start to focus on our breathing, letting it anchor us in this now moment. Just follow the breath in and out. No need to control it, change it, just observe. with the next breath, imagine you're breathing right into your heart space. And if you choose, you can put your hands on your heart to help you connect. But just imagine breathing right into the heart. And as you continue to do this, bring into your mind's eye someone or something that you deeply appreciate. So it could be a person that you love deeply. It could be a beloved pet. It could be a cherished memory that warms your heart, or a place of beauty. Choose someone or something that activates a feeling of gratitude. You don't want to just think about it, you want to feel it. So let that feeling of appreciation, gratitude, just begin to warm your heart. And now let it move beyond your heart as it expands and radiates throughout your body. Feel every cell of your body invigorated by this healing vibration of appreciation. Feel your aliveness. Now, imagine breathing into the heart. Let it expand and radiate beyond your body as we create an energetic field of harmony, coherence, peace. We send this forth to bless our planet. So we open ourselves to the deeper dimension of our hearts, knowing that each one of us is connected to the divine source of life, deep, deep within. And as we open to that source, as we allow it to come forth, we become a vessel of unconditional love, loving kindness, compassion. Each one of us is here to be the one to bring that love and compassion to our world. And we give thanks for the opportunity to be spirit in action on this day, helping to make the world a better place. And for this truth, we are great. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you. So now we will take an offering for unity. You can make your donation through livingwaterunity.org. You can click on the donate button in the banner on the homepage. And if you wish to donate by mail, send your donation to Living Water Unity, Post Office Box 745783, Arvada, Colorado. It's 80006. So, as we take our offerings in our hands, we offer this blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. And now, Doug Roche will offer us another tune.
Hello again. This love song is actually the love theme from the movie Spartacus from 1960, composed by Alex North. And I think you remember that was Kirk Douglas in that movie. But first I heard this was pianist Bill Evans did this. It's just a beautiful tune, so enjoy.
beautiful, Doug.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you again, Doug. I'm so glad we get to hear you every week.
Always
And
my
now,
pleasure.
bless the offerings. We dedicate these tithes to the will and the work of the one Spirit of truth, the Spirit that dwells in each of us, the Spirit that calls all of us. Amen. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for being with us during this transitional time. A special thanks to Dr. Simmons, Reverend Dr. Simmons, to Pam, to the board, to people working on the transition team here, and to all of you for just being here. And I hope to see all of you in person next week. Oh, and the picnic. I was saying next week. I hope to see you this afternoon if you're in the area. So.
You'll be there in spirit, Dr. Jane. We'll pass on the request to David about the Leonard left brain and Rita right brain.
Yes, we will. So, yeah. So now, as we prepare to release our circle and extinguish this flame, we honor the divine light it represents, and we carry that light within us into the world to protect us, to illuminate us, and to guide our actions. And now, the peace song. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for being here. Feel free to chat now.
Dr. Jane, thank you for including our transition in your sermon today. It was very much appreciated. And we're so glad you've been with us.
Well, you let me know how I can ever support you during this time of transition. I really honor what you're going through, and just know that I'd be happy to support you in any way I can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful to be with you all.
Yeah, thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh boy, beautiful.
I'm gonna have to take off too. I have free tickets to the Rockies game today, so I'm gonna.
Woo.
Oh, you're gonna miss the Broncos to see the Rockies, huh?
Well, I'm recording both actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's show up on TV, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jan's
That's
got his
possible.
tickets in the club level, so apparently that's supposed to be pretty cool. So,
Oh, yeah. I bet it is.
so we'll see how
Thank
that
you
goes.
for the music and have a wonderful time.
I enjoy.
And did it distort? I think got some feedback that I was distorting the first tune a little bit.
Clarence?
No?
Not too much, no.
I wasn't aware of any, Doug.
Here he is.
It was just on the really loud notes. It clipped a little bit, but it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't
Yeah.
bad. But
Is the second
just-
one better then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I turned it down a little bit. Thanks for the feedback, and see you all next time.
All right.
Have fun.
Be good.
Yeah, have fun.
Be safe. And Carol was there. Where are you, Carol? Did you leave already? Carol Holmes was here today.
Oh, I don't see her now.
She just cut off. So I should text her and say, we're still here. We wanted to say hi.
Good to see her again.
Pueblo
That's so crazy. I was just thinking about her.
Yep, she was there.
Oh my gosh, I wish I would have waved at her or something.
Yeah, I will text her and say, we wanted to say hi. Yeah, I was talking to her a week or two ago. She had a Zoom interview, and she wanted some tips on camera position and stuff like that.
Were you able to help her with that?
I was really pleased. The interview went well, but she decided it wasn't the job for her.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the way it is with some people. Some positions, just you have to interview the job as well as be interviewed by the people. So
yeah, works both ways.
Yeah.
Hi, Dee.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
Not the same. Not too good.
You look really bright in your yellow. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Are you going to be able to get out, Dee, and go to Betty's memorial? Do you ever get out of your apartment or out of your house, and are you going to be able to go to Betty's memorial?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But, yeah, you'll be there in spirit. When is your brother's service? Dee, did you have your brother's memorial already?
Did I have what?
Your brother, Lisa?
No, they're gonna have it next summer.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. When more family can gather, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Chris and Bob know about that situation. They had to, their daughter and son-in-law had to postpone their wedding twice. And theirs is going to be next September. So.
Yeah, we won't be at the picnic party for David today because we're having a Zoom with our son-in-law to be's family in England and Australia, and all of us here in the United States to have the second annual